With over 24 years of experience and multiple businesses, Vickie Helm is an acclaimed #1 best-selling author of over 38 books, as well as being a conscious business development strategist. Vickie has a degree in accounting and one from the prestigious Barbara Brennan School of Healing. Vickie is a sought-after consultant for people who want to grow more assets and take command of their financial freedom. Now, that's a very topical issue at the moment. There is a lot of fear out there at the moment. We just heard the news today in London, where I'm here at the moment, 13% inflation predicted for next year.
Yep.
And the ordinary person in the street having problems for gas bills and all sorts of things. What advice would you give people at this moment in time?
You know, that's an interesting thing. Thank you for saying that, because I have a new book coming out. I actually I'm releasing my 41st book. And I wrote it because of this time. I saw it going to happen last year, and I wrote it. It's called Cash Flow Mojo 1.0. It's the how to get rich, stay rich, and financially independent. And its release is free. I mean, if you want a copy, it's free there. And you can go to Cash Flow Mojo book and get a copy sent to you, an ebook copy, just automatically. There's no sudden behind it. You're going to suddenly have that. But here's a couple of things I want to tell your audience that I really think is the most important. One is you have to now learn how to get self-directed wealth, self-directed, not self-investing, self-directed wealth, which means that it must be under your control. And the first way that you can get wealth to help you do some things right now is, I know that we're paying bills, but you want to buy cash flow. You want to buy something that's going to cash flow for you. A lot of people are taught to invest in retirement accounts and invest in other things, so it's slow and money goes out. But you want to buy a profit center that you can buy now. So in the book, in the Cash Flow Mojo 2.0, there are ways that you can buy inexpensive businesses that may just give you an extra $500, maybe an extra $1,000 a month to start out. And they're not like bajillions of dollars. And there are ways that you can buy these so that you have income flowing in, and it's under your control, meaning there's no intermediary between you and your cash flow. The thing that's having people be, scared is because their cash flow, their money coming in, there's always some intermediary, whether it's a pension fund, that's a government, or a retirement account, or a boss, or somebody in between them and their money coming in. That's the thing that has to stop for the future. Any time that you get to the point where you are controlled, your income is controlled by someone else, you'll always feel fear at times like these.
Exactly.
And there are things you could do.
Yes, and a lot of people have credit card debts. They have flexible mortgages.
Yep.
In cases having problems to pay their monthly mortgage, especially young families. What advice would you give young families, for instance?
So that's a good one. A young family just married, a young family with kids, young family, 3 kids and only been married, 1 to 10 years. I want to talk to everyone from this place forward. If you can, you want to get a small home-based business right away. And you can start a home business there are so many inexpensive businesses to start. But the first things first, you need to get your income for you done first. So they always tell you, pay yourself first. And I'm always like, cash flow yourself first. And here's the thing, the moment that you get to the point where you understand how to make your own money, you are the freest you can ever be for the rest of your life. So I want to make it simple. Everybody learns how to cook. Eventually you learn how to cook. You only have to learn it once. You only have to learn that once. And now you can cook for the rest of your life. All you do over a period of time is improve how you cook. You start experimenting with flavors and seasonings and maybe cultural food. And so what's happening is you only have to learn how to grow a business or an income for yourself that's self-directed once. Once you do that, then what you need to do is learn what other types of cash flows are out there. So you also want to be super, super clear, because I know there are a lot of people online right now and they're just like, let's build some money. Let's get some money. Let's get some money rolling in. So they go and they see an advertisement in the Facebook scroll that says, learn how to do a something. And then they pay somewhere between $2,000 and $20,000 to learn a skill set. And the truth is, no single skill set, not one single skill set, is going to get you to where you want to be. What you want to learn how to do is build cash flows, not skill sets, cash flows. And if you say, what's a skill set I want to learn? You want to learn cash flow skill sets. And all I'm saying is pick up my free book. It's free. You have nothing to lose. Read that book, and inside it, you will uncover the 7 best cash flows that you can create for yourself that will empower your own financial freedom. And this is a big deal right now. It's huge. It's huge because if you don't have self-directed wealth, you're stuck. And that's where we're at right now. We're stuck where we are. We're stuck in the conditions we are. We're not moving forward. That you don't want to have. You want to have freedom to move, freedom to take advantage of opportunities. And that means you kind of have to flip the script a bit on what you think wealth is and what you think working a job is.
Yes, a lot of people seem to be doing multiple jobs. There's this slogan going out, you need multiple streams of income. Some people are saying you can generate multiple streams of income by doing jobs on the internet. Now that might be a solution for some people, but now I'm talking to the average person in the street. Can you just give us some idea of the nitty-gritty in your book?
Some idea of the nitty-gritty in your book. Okay, that I'm not sure I understand the question well, but I'm going to go ahead and try to get that for you. So what is important to understand is that how you've learned to build wealth only benefits a few people. How you want to build wealth, you want it to benefit foremostly you, your family, your loved ones. What we learn is to outsource our wealth to someone else. We have advisors and planners and managers and all kinds of things. When you do that, you lose control of your money. And usually your money isn't managed to the way that you want it to be managed. Well, before there were markets, before there were any kind of a trade that we have right now, there were ways to get wealthy that were just a natural part of being alive. They were done without banks. They were done without regulations, etc. And that is what is being called self-directed wealth. So, for example, I know a lot of people are into Airbnbs right now. They're buy a property, get that Airbnb, and then, you have this income coming in from this Airbnb. But that income coming in is dependent on that being rented. And what I think is going to happen is right now, I think we're going to have a lot of climate refugees. If I'm going to say anything right now, there is going to be food refugees and climate refugees. As we continue forward in our world, we're going to see, I think, food shortages or access to food or access to things that we've been used to right now is going to be slowed down. And what you want to do is figure out how to create mobility, flexibility, and adaptability with your income. So for example, there are a lot of people that are working from home, which means you can work from anywhere right now. That's a form of adaptability. Can your business support you just like we're doing right now? You're in London and I'm in the United States, and we're talking in real time. And so that ability, that huge ability, is going to help you have adaptability and flexibility. But you have to design your life as to not being attached to one thing. So I had a friend of mine who was very wealthy, lived a very wealthy life, had his home built, and it was in California. And 2 years ago, when the big fires happened, it wiped out everything he had, absolutely everything he had. And the difference is you want an online income and an offline income. So if you have an offline business, and to me, it could be starting something like microgreens. I mean, it doesn't have to be hard, but you have an offline business and an online business. If this offline business blew up in a tornado or burnt to the ground or flooded off, you would still have a backup income. And this is what I mean by self-directed wealth. It is, you were correct when you said that the average millionaire has 7 income sources, but they're all self-directed income sources. And that's the difference between us and them. We get 2 jobs and those are, income sources. But if you get self-directed wealth, then what you have is cash flow sources. There's nothing between me and the cash. So for instance, a laundromat is a good thing. If you take a look at a laundromat, it's not a very sexy business. You're not like, ooh, I'm the laundromat king. Okay, so you go there, but the quarters go into the machine, and you are, washing your clothes, and everybody's going to want clean clothes. So it's a business that everybody's going to use. It's under your control. It cash flows comes into your house. You run that business, etc. That could be your brick and mortar business. And then your online business, I do publishing. I'm a content creator, and that's what I do. And those 2 things right there, between the business I have online and the businesses I have that are brick and mortar, those things are in my control. That's the 7 cash flow, not just passive income sources. Because passive income sources right now, if you take a look at every passive income source owner in China, they're screaming right now because nobody is paying their rent. Nobody's paying their mortgages.
You just had a key word there, adaptability. With the massive external changes we are seeing with climate change and economies all over the world, it's a global phenomenon. Nobody can escape this.
That's correct.
And you just addressed some ideas like gardening and self-sustainability.
Yep.
So obviously this is one direction people could look at.
It is a direction I have, actually. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that 10 years ago I saw this coming, and so I moved everything online. I moved out of the city. I had 10 years of prepping for this, but you don't need a big place. I have a very small place, and I have an orchard and a garden, and those things are set specifically 10 years ago, knowing that this was going to happen. So what do you do now? So maybe you're in a flat somewhere and you're just wondering what you're going to do. Well, I would grow food in buckets. I would get some soil and do whatever you can right now, because that is going to be, if we're looking at 13% inflation next year, and that's really huge. 13% inflation on gas, 13% inflation on food. That is going to mean that in order to keep up with inflation, your cash flows need to go up by 13%. So how do you make that happen?
which means you have less available income if
Yes.
you stay in a normal job with
Yeah,
a fixed salary.
absolutely. And that's a big deal. You're right. That's like the biggest thing to know right now is we can look at the world and be like, oh my God, what's going on? I mean, we can do that. And you have to look for the opportunities still. How do I make this work? You have to ask yourself the questions, not what am I going to do? I don't know what to do. I'm scared. I mean, everybody gets scared. I've been scared. And there's a point where even when you're scared, you're going to have to listen inward and trust your gut and the divine in such a way that you're able to listen to you. And if it says, go get a 5-gallon bucket and plant some potatoes in it, then just trust yourself. Go get a 5-gallon bucket and plant some potatoes in it. And
You just mentioned an important point. How does a money mindset go in line with spirituality?
That's a great thing. For me, spirituality is there are money types that we grew up with. A money mindset is about flow. We're bouncing all over the place today, and I'm really excited about this kind of bouncing in the conversation because there was a point where when I went to Barbara Brennan, it was the 90s. And so when I went to the School of Healing, I thought I was going to be an energy healer. And she has you do a thesis at the end of the year. And my thesis was on business and spirituality, because back when I started my career, the two were separate. You never talked about spirituality at the office. You never talked about it in your business. You just didn't do it. And I thought these two things actually go together. They're the same thing. A business and your cash flow and your money is a reflection of who you are in the moment. And since your intention, and intention is invoked by feeling and thinking, since your intention is what you attract, then you have to look at your intention. So the intention by which we're moving forward, there's going to be the Great Awakening, which is happening right now. And there is going to be the great awareness. We're going to not be so, would be consumeristic. And we're going to be more community oriented and things like that. And the thing about money is that what we learned money isn't money. There's nothing backing anybody's money. So I remember the first time I left America and I moved to London, and I had to take my dollars and turn them into pounds. And I remember the first time I got a stack of pounds and I looked at it and I thought, that looks like Monopoly money. It doesn't even look real. And who is this queen on the front of it? And I remember after living there for 2.5 years, that my thoughts effortlessly changed to, this is valuable. Look at the queens on it. And now I've got pounds and I have those, and I saw them, they're heavy. They're, suddenly you have this money. And then I went back to the United States and I had greenbacks in my hand. And I was like, this looks like Monopoly money. And what I noticed was that my allegiance changed. This wasn't money and this was money. And then suddenly this was money and this wasn't money. Your allegiance and your focus as to what is money, what I realized was that money, which is backed by nothing, is nothing but trading stamps. And every country has their trading stamps.
And basically an exchange of energy, isn't it?
It is. And it's an exchange of intention as well. That exchange of intention, when you start seeing money for what it actually is, and the game is rigged so stupidly, but in people's favor. The difference is when you get money, it's worthless, but it allows you to buy things that are worthful. I don't know why they set it up that way. It doesn't make any sense to me. But if you get the more of these trading stamps that you get, if the more assets you buy, the wealthier you'll be. The more cash flows you get, you're flowing trading stamps towards you that allow you to pay for assets. Learn to buy assets. Stop learning to buy debt. If you continue to buy debt, you're going to drown. If you continue to buy assets, you're going to be wealthy. It's stupid simple.
And the wealthier you are, the more good you can do in the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The wealthier you are, the more good you can do. That is absolutely true. And good right now doesn't have to be huge philanthropic things. So, for example, in my town, I started a micro fund to help all the small businesses in my area with some startup capital. And that way they could, get their business off the ground. It doesn't have to be a big loan. It can be somewhere between $1,000 and $12,000. And suddenly they're on their way. There's so much good you can do. But here's the thing. We are so global minded right now. And very soon, we're going to get very community minded. We have to. It has to do with a lot of the climate change that is happening. So right now in America, there are floods, big floods happening in Kentucky. Some people have lost everything because it is just rolling down the river. The waters have come and taken houses and cars and businesses and everything. So if you live in a town and you work in the town you live in, what happens when a climate disaster happens? Well, your grocery store is gone and your home is gone and the bank you used to bank at is gone. And, the restaurants you used to eat at are gone. Everything that built your quality of life has vanished. Now what?
Exactly, which means we're back to adaptability.
Yes. And you want to answer that question for yourself right now. Now what? And then stay with the vastness of that question. Because at first your brain's going to go, I don't know. But what you want to do is have a backup plan for that. Now what? And if you don't have a backup plan, like if you're an entrepreneur and let's say you have 3 franchises or 3 laundromats, we have 3 laundromats in the town we live in. And so all of a sudden the flood, the hurricane, the tornado comes and it wipes out your neighborhood, but it leaves your 3 businesses up and nobody's coming to your business because they have nothing. What's your backup plan? That if you look at that right now, what's your backup plan? I know a lot of people in the United States are RV crazy because they're like, okay, if we lose and we have to get out of here and we got kids. And so their 5th wheels are selling like mad and everybody's getting their RV just in case. And they're moving away from places that are determined to be climate change crazy over to the better parts of where climate change is safe. And so what I'm looking at is I cannot say what's best for anybody. I can only say what's best for me. But you want to sit with the question, what happens if this? Then what happens if this? And if you put up your cash flows and notice that they're just flows, then you're going to be in a position to maneuver when you need to pivot on a dime, or to take advantage of an opportunity that you see right now. You have to give yourself flexibility. You cannot just be hardline and say, well, I've always worked a job. This is how we get our money. This is how. All that's drowning. It's drowning. It's being burnt up. It's being windblown. All of these things right now, we are going to see active change, climate change. I think they said, what it was at 2050?
Well, it's happening, but it's happening right now, everywhere.
That's right.
We're having a massive heat wave in Europe. We're also having floods in Australia.
Yep. It's everywhere. We have heat bombs in the United States, is what they're calling them. Some places are oh, I know you guys use Celsius and I use Fahrenheit. So it's 111 degrees or 115 degrees, which is just unheard of in some places. And I know that in the UK, on the news, they're like, it's the hottest year they've ever had. It's
41 to
104.
42 degrees, which is absolutely
Insane.
astounding. Yeah.
Yes. And when I lived there, it was always comfortable, always, just always comfortable. I can't even imagine what it would be like to be there without air conditioning and just having to deal with the heat, and how that makes people grumpy, you know, how that makes people irritable or ill, or, you know, it's just such intense pressure.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
we've addressed so many issues today, and I think you have such an important message for everyone out there. Of course, getting your book, downloading your book is one of the big advice you just gave us. What other message would you have for people in fear at the moment, in real
fear.
material fear?
Real material fear, like, are they about to be homeless or
Exactly.
Okay. So right now, in that kind of fear, the first thing is, don't try to stop the fear. Don't try to, oh my God, I have to be out of fear. No, you don't. You're in fear. Just accept where you are in the moment and notice that. Also, I want to add something to that. And that is, we can be fearful and say, show me the possibility I need to find. Tell your mind what to do. You don't have to stop being scared. I mean, there are times where I'm scared all the time, but when I get to the point where I'm feeling fear, it's a trigger to my mind. What else can I do? What am I not seeing? Where's my exit point? Where do I need to step to? If you tell your mind, it will go get that information for you and bring it back. Now, if your fear is driven because you don't want to do something, then you're lacking faith and trust. Like right now, if somebody says you have to sell your house and you're like, no, I love my house. I want this house, but you have to sell your house. And you're inside knowing that you have to sell your house, but you're resistant. I'm going to ask you to trust you. Trust you. It doesn't mean you have to stop being afraid, but can you add something else to your fear? What's the possibility that you can ask yourself? Look for opportunities. Say, okay, I get that I'm scared right now, and it's okay to be scared. Where's my opportunity? Where's my miracle? And expect it. Expect the opportunity, the miracle. What direction can I go in? What do you want me to do? Expect that. You have to listen inward. This is a time where nothing in your mind is going to know what to do, because what your mind knows how to do is all the past. Last thing, there are no experts right now. I don't care who you listen to. Nobody's ever been through this in our lifetime or in 1,000 years. Nobody. So the only thing you can do is connect with your inner guidance, your inner divine, your inner master, and let it lead you to where it goes. The more you resist, the more you'll feel fear.
Yes, I really want to acknowledge you there for your great advice, Vickie. Great message for our times. And thank you so much for being with us today.
Blessings to everyone. Blessings.